embarrassing if I drastically underperform, considering I live here, but we're going to give it our honest try. There will be no reference image, there will be no tracing. This is just straight off the dome. So we're going to begin over here with the West Coast, and we're going to start with the little corner of Washington there, and then we come down into Oregon and into California. I may have overestimated myself there. California's on a bit more of a curve. More like that. There we go. Into the southwest, into Arizona, up into Mexico, kind of like that. Or New Mexico, not Mexico. Mexico would be down there. And we go over and then into Texas, the first little bump. And then their second bigger bump. That's not quite right. More like that, I think. I think I made Texas a little skinny there, but that's alright. Texas goes up like this into Louisiana. We're gonna run out of room, I think, for the East Coast. We might have to cramp things a little bit, but it's alright. So this is Louisiana, which goes up like this, and then down into Florida. I may be doing Florida a lot of injustice here by making it maybe a little too fat. Let me see if I can correct that a little bit, just like this. Yeah, Florida's definitely going to be a casualty of this. I know that's not what Florida looks like, but I maybe didn't prepare enough space for them, but it's alright. And then Florida comes up and into the East Coast, like so. It's a little cramped on the East Coast, so New York into Ohio, and then over here is where we see Michigan, which looks kind of like a chicken nugget. So that's a very fat Michigan, actually. Hold on. I think I can fix that. So we'll reroute that a little bit. A little bit less fat. It's still, a far cry from what Michigan actually looks like, but that's fine by me. This is Lake Michigan, and that means this is Wisconsin here. And then we'll draw a little triangle for Minnesota, and then we'll connect back like that. Okay, so that is not my best work, but we'll add the upper peninsula there, which looks kind of like this. The upper peninsula. We'll draw Mississippi River that divides Minnesota and Wisconsin, and then that is our first sort of border there. So this is Wisconsin, home of the Green Bay Packers, also home to one Tom Grossi, one of my favorite YouTubers. Of course, the upper peninsula is a little wonky, but we will go with it. This little chicken nugget here. The chicken nugget is Michigan. Michigan designated by M and I. Michigan is home to the Detroit Lions and the Pistons, who are the #1 seed. As I was saying, as someone on a motorcycle drove by, the state of Michigan, home to the Detroit Pistons, currently the first seed in the NBA playoffs in the Eastern Conference. always the first team that comes to my mind when I think of Ohio. Your guess is as good as mine, but the Cincinnati Reds. Of course, I think we need maybe a little bit of an extension here because this is New York, and in order to draw New York, we got like the little cut of New Jersey there. So we'll call that New Jersey. I don't even know if I have enough space to draw the letters, but then to the north of New Jersey is a little Staten Island there that sticks out. That's where New York City is. So for New York, we will draw it like this. I know that's not quite right, but we'll say that. Actually, let me put that line down. I'll bring that line down a bit. So this is New York, right here. Apparently it's quite busy out today. That's New York, and then we've got, I think I need to draw a little bit more space for Maine, so I'll do that. And we'll bring Maine okay, so this we'll do sort of like that. Spacing is a little off, but this is Maine, which, if I remember correctly, Maine is designated with MA. MA is Maine, that's Maine. Or is Massachusetts? Massachusetts might be MA. We'll worry about it later. Okay. And then we have New Hampshire, which is here. So this is New Hampshire. I don't actually think there's supposed to be a space here, but it's fine. So this is Vermont here. This is BT, and this is NH. That's New Hampshire and Vermont. I don't believe there's supposed to be a space here. Could be wrong, but we're gonna move on. So this is New Jersey. This is New Jersey. Let's see if I can fit that in there. New Jersey. And then down, like, inside of New Jersey, there's also Delaware and Rhode Island, but we'll just draw a little box. We'll just draw a box and call it good. So, this is Delaware and Rhode Island are in there. And then actually, is Massachusetts above New York? It might be. Or is Connecticut? It might be Connecticut or Massachusetts. I'm gonna look like an idiot if I get this wrong, but Massachusetts, I think, is down here. This might be Connecticut. I don't think this space is supposed to be here, but we're just gonna say this is Connecticut. I apologize to any New Englanders if I'm getting your spaces wrong, because I was under the impression, at least in my map here, that's a little compressed and all squished together. I was under the impression that Massachusetts was like down here, closer to Philadelphia, but we're just gonna roll with it. So we're gonna say this is Connecticut. So CT. I'm gonna say that's Connecticut, and I'm just gonna move on. And then I'm gonna draw another box right here. think, is Michigan's MI. Maine is, I think, ME. Yeah, I think Maine is ME. Again, this is my American education working for me right now, okay? If I get any of this wrong, blame my education. You know, I have the general idea. So this is ME. And then this is Massachusetts. This is MA, which means I don't even know how I'm gonna draw Maryland. But Maryland is here as well, and it's like this chunk here, and then there's like a little dip. Like Maryland is an ugly state, just ugly shape. But I'm gonna call that good. And then this is MD. This is Maryland, so MD Maryland. And then this box here is Pennsylvania. So that's PA. That's Pennsylvania right there. And then what I get wrong, and I know I'm gonna get this wrong, is where Tennessee and Kentucky are. I know they're in this general area. So I'm just gonna start narrowing it down. So here is South Carolina. Right around Florida, this is South Carolina, which then in turn means that this is North Carolina, which then I believe means that we have Virginia here, which goes like this. Not exactly, but kind of, and then West Virginia is a little turkey glove looking thing, and that's west of Virginia. So it's like over here, it's like northwest of Virginia, so it's like this, I think. I think that's West Virginia, and then that would be Kentucky, right? Or am I getting that wrong? I don't think there's actually something. I think Kentucky's like more over here. I think. I'm just gonna roll with it. Like, again, the East Coast is kind of smushed together on this map, so that's fine. So we're just gonna call this South Carolina. South Carolina. This is North Carolina. This is Virginia. And this is West Virginia. And then this is Kentucky. Again, I think the placement's a little bit off. And then we're just gonna draw DC. We're gonna draw a little circle right here. Right there. It's a square. I said circle, but that's DC. That is the capital. I drew a 3. Whatever. That's DC right there. And then getting back over here, underneath Ohio, sort of, well, not necessarily directly underneath Ohio, because Indiana's more like here a ways, and then Tennessee is the big long one. Tennessee, I think, goes like this. So this is Tennessee. That's Tennessee there. And then Illinois is right here. Illinois looks sort of like that. And then next to Illinois would be Indiana, which goes like that. The problem, of course, being I'm pretty sure there's not a state there. Very positive that's not a state. So I've done something wrong. I've done something incorrect, or maybe I'm just scaling it wrong. You know what I'm gonna do? I am going to just get rid of this line here. Get rid of this. I'm gonna make Western Virginia bigger. West Virginia. Mountain Mama. Just gonna cheat a little bit. But well, actually, I'm gonna go like that, and then we'll just say that this here, like that, that's part of Maryland. And then we'll say this is Kentucky. And I know the shape is completely wrong, but it's not necessarily about the shape, it's more about the position on the map, and I think the position is correct, and that's what's important. So we're gonna ignore the rest of that. We're gonna say this right here is Illinois. Illinois. My pencil is losing a bit of its sharpness, but I don't know where my sharpener is. This is Indiana. Indiana. Okay. Now we're really testing my knowledge, cause I know what's over here, right? So over here in this little curve, like right about there, like this. The square states are the easy ones. So this is Iowa. Going through all of the I names right now. So A is Iowa. We go like this. This is Minnesota, MN. Minnesota is there. My positioning of Illinois and Indiana might be a little bit off, because I believe Illinois is actually taking up more of the space underneath Wisconsin, if I remember right, than it is just directly under Lake Michigan. But it's fine. This is all fine. If we draw a line in the middle of Minnesota, we get both of our Dakotas. So this is South Dakota, obviously, and this is North Dakota. And then if we go like that, we get Montana, which I believe is just MT. It's either MT or MO. I think it's MT, because I think Missouri is MO. We'll get there when we get there. And then this would be Idaho. This little trapezoid. That's Idaho. That's not at all what Idaho looks like. Idaho is more like that, actually. That's better, so we'll just get rid of that line there as best we can. That's Idaho. And then this is Washington, which is, Washington is designated by what? WA, I think. Washington, and then we go down a ways and we draw a square like this, and we get Oregon, which is Oregon, and then directly under there, sort of in this configuration, is Wyoming. WY is Wyoming. Again, my shapes and spacing might be a little bit off, but again, this is all general vicinity, and no tracing, no references whatsoever. And I know I'm already off a little bit, because I think Illinois is more like this. So we'll just change the shape a little bit and call it good. So that's Illinois. A little bit better. Not by much. It looks like a fat chicken nugget, but that's Illinois. Indiana, I think, is also moved over slightly. This square here should be Nebraska. So NE, that's Nebraska, which then, like here-ish, would be Kansas. Sort of like this. So K. This is Kansas. Now we run into the issue a state between Kansas and Illinois. I think they're like right next to each other. But because of compression, I may have doomed myself there. But we're just gonna keep going and figure it out. So Kansas, I think the states could definitely be a little bit bigger for sure. I'm sort of squishing them all together. Kansas is there. Let me see if I can figure out what I'm doing with Texas and stuff. This is Louisiana. Louisiana is sort of L-shaped. Louisiana's here. Louisiana. Next to Louisiana is Mississippi. As Mississippi. Next to Mississippi is Georgia. Georgia is G-A, I believe. G-A, I think, is Georgia. And then that means this is Florida. Right there. Actually, I think the Florida handle comes up a little higher than that. A bit higher. Like that. Again, Florida's in a weird spot. Just shape-wise. I'm definitely not making states as big as they should be, but again, this is without any reference imaging or anything like that. So, Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, Arkansas would be, or no, would it be Missouri? And then actually Missouri is like here, and then Arkansas is sort of kind of shaped like that. AR is Arkansas, and then Missouri would be here-ish, right? Missouri is more of a square shape. So oh, that's Missouri. I've definitely pooched myself on some of these borders, 100%. But that's fine, that's fine. So that would actually mean that Tennessee is closer down here. And I don't think there's anything between Tennessee and Mississippi. I don't believe. Let me just do some counting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I think we're at 31 out of 50 states. Yeah, some spacing is definitely falling apart here, but you know, sometimes you mess up. You mess up sometimes. So what I'm going to do, for the sake of my own sanity, is I'm going to move Tennessee. I wish I had a better eraser for this. I'm going to move Tennessee. Just because, you know, I've got that giant gap there. So Tennessee is actually closer to down here in this area, which means South Carolina should also be bigger. And then North Carolina and Virginia should also be larger. But that's alright. This is South Carolina here, and Tennessee is then more like there, I think. Yeah, so we're just gonna draw a general box. It's not quite right, but that is Tennessee, and then Kentucky would be more down here, and then West Virginia would be more over into the Ohio area. So we're just gonna draw some general shapes and call it good. You can so Ohio's a little funky looking. That's fine. We go like that, and we call that West Virginia, which I know is not entirely how it looks, but. And I'm also just screwed. Actually, I'll just call this Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania will also be coming down just a little bit. So we have a very rectangular looking West Virginia all of a sudden. Actually, let me just. Okay, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna scoop. Ohio's there. West Virginia in there somewhere. We will call. I don't know what I'm drawing that line for. We will call this. There's the gun. We will call this line. We'll call that. This is Virginia, right? Virginia's there. I mean, I know it's already very wrong, but we'll just pretend that we're playing like Hearts of Iron 4 or something, and we're doing one of those state territory battles. And Pennsylvania will move into part of West Virginia. Pennsylvania there. And then we'll add Kentucky. Kentucky will get some new borders because we'll draw a little. We'll draw that. We'll draw that for West Virginia. Okay, moving on. I know it's very cramped and stuff, but that will be the end of that. And then I've got this whole shebang going on here, and I think I'm just gonna move Kansas over a bit. So we'll get long Kansas. And then Arkansas is kind of very oddly, oddly together. I know Missouri needs to come up. So Missouri comes up. Because Missouri is closer to Kansas than it is to Texas, I believe. So we'll say that this here is Missouri. And then we will. I don't think Arkansas is that close to Illinois, is it? But I can't think of if there would even be anything between the two, so we're just gonna move Arkansas a little bit. And we're just gonna say that this new region here, we're gonna say that this is Arkansas. So that's Arkansas. And then Oklahoma's gonna get a little weird because Oklahoma's supposed to be further down. Nebraska also needs to be further down, but again, I may have made the Dakotas a little too small. But it's whatever. It's whatever. We're just gonna roll with it. So Oklahoma is gonna be tall. We're gonna make it tall, Oklahoma. So for that, we need to. I think we actually need to work on the West Coast. Everything over here is a square. Okay, everything in this region is just so square, and it trips me up. So this is Arizona. And then above Arizona would be Nevada is like, we're gonna have a fat Nevada, but it's fine. So that's Nevada. Arizona, New Mexico has the little, I don't know, Utah's the one with the little bit. Utah's the one with the little bit. So that means Utah is like right there. And then this would be New Mexico. New Mexico, and then Colorado here. Right? Then Wyoming we can bring down. Wyoming's a bigger state anyway. Not as big as Montana, but it's on the bigger side. Wyoming can be brought down a little bit. So, this is now Wyoming. That's Wyoming there. Which then would mean this is Nebraska. That space right there should be Nebraska. And then the Dakotas have to come down. But that's a lot of space that I would have to finagle with, so we're just gonna make Nebraska a bit fat as well. So Nebraska is getting some new territory that it's never had before. And we're putting Nebraska in South Dakota. And maybe a bit of Kansas as well. Because Kansas should be a little bit bigger, I think, but it's fine. So we'll call this Nebraska. Nobody knows where Nebraska is anyway, it's fine. Okay. Now, Texas is looking a little dreary, but we do this, and we do this, and we go like that. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Texas. Oh my Lord. I've done you so wrong. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay. Oklahoma here. This is Texas. This is Colorado. This is New Mexico. This is Utah. This is Arizona. Arizona is marked with AR. Arkansas. Arkansas isn't AK, is it? Because AK is Alaska. Right, Arkansas is AS. AS is Arkansas. AS, Arkansas. AR for Arizona. Nevada is NV. NB, and of course California is, I don't know why I did a lowercase a. California is CA. So, Massachusetts is somewhere in there. Over there, I forgot to. Yeah, Massachusetts is in there. Connecticut is there. Delaware, Rhode Island. I think I'm forgetting some of the 13 colonies, honestly. Delaware, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, Maryland, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, New York. I think I'm forgetting something over there. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I think overall the positioning is about right. The borders are a lot to be desired, but we've got two more that we need to do. Of course, we have our little box, and this is Hawaii. So we'll just draw the little islands. This is Hawaii, which is H. Oh boy, is it H-I? I think Hawaii is H-I. And then we draw another box, a little bit bigger this time. And inside of this slightly bigger box, we draw a backwards K looking shape. And that is our Alaska. And then Alaska's also got the sticky little island bits. That looks not right at all, but we're just gonna call it good. So this is Alaska. And that is my attempt at creating a map of my home country, the United States of America. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, well, you know what to do. I thank you very much as always for watching. I hope to speak with you all again soon.